I'm from the Danish plogexperten, and I am the owner of that. I started the company in 2017, and my philosophy was only one thing: help the Danish farmer, or who they want my help, to be better plowman. I started in my old Passat and drive around in Denmark, and the farmer called me and asked my help, and I go to the farmer and adjust the plow. What the surprise them many farmer is, we are using 3 hours typical in the house, in the barn before we are going out. And when we first have fine-tune everything we can do in the indoor, we can go in the field, and typically in a half hour, 1 hour, we are ready. It's something I have learned myself, or a technique I have built up by my many years as chairman for the plowing organization in Denmark. That's under the LÄR BÖNDER. I was asked many times, can you do a training for us in the young farm organization? And I was thinking how to do that. How do we learn the young people to adjust the plow? And I find this way, what we are using today, spend a lot of time in the house to do all the basic adjustments we can do at all. So when we have done that, there's only 2 or 3 parameter rest we need to do in the field, and that make the plow life much easier.
What is the most common mistake that farmers do when they are adjusting their plow on their own, so to say?
The most common mistake is because they are too lazy to go out of the tractor and measuring the first furrow. They think they can look from the rear window and see, it's about that. But about that is typical 10 centimeter too wide.
And what happens when you have 10 centimeters too wide?
You start to make a wave on the field. The first furrow is a little lower, then the next furrow is a little higher, and then you see the field from the end. It's like a wave. And as soon we move this typical 10 centimeter, sometimes 15 centimeter, so the first furrow is right, then the picture changes totally. And when you have the first furrow a little bit too wide, you will dig down the front part of the plow to try to dig up more soil, to try to even the big groove you have after from the rear tire. And therefore you wear away the first furrow, the first share, more than you do the last year, the rear share. And that means when the first share is worn away, you have 20% left on the rest of the shares. And just there, it's money enough to pay us 2 times to come and adjust your own plow.
Because that was my next question. How much time to do this correctly, and how do you translate that time to money in the field, so to say?
Typical, it takes between 3 hours and 5 hours to adjust a typical lift-mounted plow. Of course, if we find a 10 furrow semi-mounted, this is another story. But a typical plow, 3 to 5 hours, and it's typical about 5,000 Danish kroner for such a visit, and it's paid back in if it's not a year, but it's maybe a month. Then it's paid back.
Really, a month?
Yeah, because you save diesel, typical from 10 to 30% diesel you're saving to have the plow adjusted right. The next thing is you're saving the wearing parts, as we have talked about before. The last thing is you are saving more chemicals, because if the plowing is done right, the skimmer is adjusted right and placed the right position, then you have a more full field, plowed field, and that's typically also save some chemicals. And chemicals is also for our nature and for the people that like to hit on the farmers also a good things to try to reduce the use of chemicals. What you can do with a plow.
Exactly. So is there a difference between a smaller or a bigger plow in terms of what you do to adjust it? Or is it the same just in a bigger scale, for example, on a big one?
It's basically the same, but of course a very big trailed plow with this double wheel in the middle is taking a lot of time. It's like to adjust two plows. And for example, the adjustment of the moldboards, we have a very special way we are measuring the adjustment of the moldboards and move it from the one set of plow to the next set of plows. The same we are doing if we have a farmer that have two plows. He can easily, a lot of farmers have two plows, and sometimes they're going after each other. And also in that case, we move the measuring from at the moldboard from the one plow to another plow. So when you are going straight after each other, you will plow exactly the same way with the two plows. There's a lot of different techniques, depends of the model of the plows. I don't think there is a plow in Denmark I have not adjusted.
Okay, so if we talk a little bit about what else things you do, because you do this thing with the plows that you come out and you tune them.
Yeah.
But you also sell plows. You sell Ovlac straight to the farmer in Denmark,
Yeah.
and here in Sweden you sell to yes, exactly, to dealer. Yeah. Can you tell us about the Swedish market? What do you see from the Swedish market from an Ovlac perspective, so to say?
The Swedish market is, I think it is a good market. There's a lot of Swedish farmer that is plowing, and we have some strange conditions. I have sold plow to Vadstena area, Vedestad area, where it's very heavy clay soil, and today we have a field where there's filled up with stones. There's a lot of stones and a little bit soil between. So our plow handled the whole thing. Of course, we start to sell the first plow in Sweden in 2018. So we have had some years, and of course there have been some few small things, but the fantastic thing with Ovlac is it's a small company, 80 people employed. I'm talking with the boss himself, and if we have a problem, I call him and say, what are we going to do? And often 2 days later we have a solution. And this is something I like. And the benefit of that is we have a very big success in Denmark. We have sold a lot of plows in Denmark, about 300. And in Sweden it's more slow, because it's a process where the farmer, the Swedish person, is maybe a little bit more skeptical when there's coming a Danish man or coming a plow from Spain. But today I will say with this demo here we have really there's coming a lot of customer here, and they are interesting. So it's like we have an opening now, but it have taken a lot of years.
But what makes the Ovlac unique?
Ovlac is unique by this pivoting crossbar. The crossbar can move, so when you are driving you can drive around and following the edge of the fields, typically along the river or along the road, without nearly pull the tractor sideways. It's a very smart system. At the same time, this pivoting crossbar is also reduce the pulling requirement, because you are pulling the plow by one pin and pull it in the direction of the plowing. So there's less pressure on the land sides than there is with traditional plows.
And so this is unique for Ovlac?
This is unique for Ovlac, yeah. It's funny, when I went to Ovlac to pioneer there a little bit before I make agreement with them to see what kind of steel they have on the shelf, and and how the plows is built up. I have to say I did not believe that system before I have the first plow in Denmark and try it, and then I was totally impressed. So myself, I was also skeptical. Back to the steel on the shelf at Ovlac, surprising. Almost all the steel was from Sweden. Swedish SSAB Hardox plates, they're using a lot of this, and this is amazing good steel. They can flex and they can go back and they are not bending. So so that's make the plow in a good quality as well. And because when you look at it, it's not looking that heavy duty, but for plow it's almost also opposite. You want to have a light plow, but of course it had to last.
Exactly.
So if you look at the beam that's going down to the plow foot, the body, you will see it's a plate, but it's making in Hardox 500, and therefore it can twist, it can move, but it's all right all time coming back to the original position again.
Of those plows that you have sold in Sweden, are they all the same, or what are the sizes that are most requested, so to say?
A lot of 5 euros, a lot of 5 euros. It's like I will say the 3 out of 4 plows in Sweden is 5 euros, and few 6 euros. I think I press the Swedish farmers and dealers more to go to for 6. Today in Denmark, this year we have swap over. So today we are selling more 6 euros than we are selling 5 euros.
And that just comes down to capacity, or?
Yeah. And you have our 6 euro plows have the weight of 2,800 kilo. It's not a heavy plow. And we have tractors, 240s that is running with the 6 euro plow. So you don't need a big, let's say, huge tractor like the 8,000 series. You can easily handle that plow with a 7,000 series. And that makes it more interesting, because you can have a average size tractor and a nice 6 euro plow, and with a lift mounted plow you can go to all the corners and everything. Our land wheel is some of the things Ovlac did not have when we started the cooperation. So I took the engineer and the owner to Denmark, and we visit different Danish farmers and ask them what do you want. And we made a very fantastic land wheel. The land wheel, they have a fixed stop, so when you are plowing, you're just going down to the stop. The stop is made of these clips you're putting in between the cylinders, like you see on the many cultivators. Mm-hmm. So it's very easy to adjust how deep you want to go. The major thing is when you put the wheel down, press the wheel down, you can lift the plow totally free. So when you put the plow in the ground, you put the front end down first, and then you put pressure on the land wheel, and you lift the end of the plow, so you're going down like a semi-mounted plow. Mm-hmm. So you make a very fantastic headlands, like we see over here. And also that becomes the reason for 6 euro plows, because a 6 euro plow before, it's just you put it down and you have a triangle on 6 euros going out in the headland, and you have a deep furrow that is making the headland very uneven. Today we are using that land wheel, so we put the plow down like a semi-mounted. So we are having very nice headlands even as a 6 euro plow, and that makes it more interesting. The same wheel, are we able to have a step 2 function? That means when you make the last run at the edge of the field along the neighbor, you will be able to have the wheel running out on top of the dike, on top of something higher. So you can sit in the tractor and adjust the wheel from 25 to 45 centimeters when you make the last run. So you can plow in full depth all the way out to the end. That makes it also very interesting. Another thing is we have not choosing a big fat tire, because a big fat tire takes a lot of weight and it's heavy when you have it in the rear end. We have a radial tire, totally traditional tire from a tractor. A radial tire, you know, is more soft. It can go with less pressure. We are using 1.5 bar. So it's how all the nice facilities like a tractor tire have. It's just sitting on the plow. And it's a quite high tire, not so wide. So again, we can go closer to the edge of the field with this narrower wheel.